So we try to keep IT out of all of it. We kind of adopt that policy of don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness. So that's basically been our motto.
A manager typically comes and identifies an area that they need improvement on or they need help with. And together, that manager and our IT department, who plays a significant role, they eliminate, things like a training issue or a performance issue of some kind. So they remove that. Technology may not always be the answer. Once they determine that technology is possibly an answer, they explore solutions and costs together, generally. And it depends on who's going to own the project. Both the department and IT consider budget, return on investment, which plays a very important role. And IT also influences the decision.
Excellent.
Can I just
jump
in? The network that you have is really important. The relationships that you build with people are really important. The informatics team at USC are some of my closest friends, and I think that is one of the reasons they were able to push that with our IT group and make it work quicker. So it's all about your network.
Yeah, great. So the trend continues to overwhelmingly favor cloud-based solutions. That's no surprise to most people. How have you seen your own organization kind of embracing cloud-based tools, just in general? You already have here, but elsewhere.
Well, like I said, our IT department is anti-cloud-based tools, and we jumped into the central desktop party very early and kind of forced our department into it. So it's not from a lack of trying, but we were using, like I said, CBS just allowed employees to start using Dropbox just like a month ago. But we were using Dropbox very early, and they actually blocked our use of Dropbox at that time. So we went, Al Kennedy, the boss I just spoke of, he went round and round with our IT department and lost that battle, unfortunately, for a short period of time, but then we got that access back. So it's all based, unfortunately for us, it's all based on our IT department if we are going to embrace any cloud services. So if they are anti-cloud-based services, then we have to somehow work around that. And we have Central Desktop, they have not come and told us that they're going to restrict it yet. And even if I think if they were at one point, Al could fight the fight well enough that he would win at this point. But it is a constant battle for us, and you would think it would be with somebody else, but it's weird that it is within the company that we kind of have to have this battle. But sometimes IT departments don't work with you; they work against you, and that's what we're finding at least. So.
We found that there were initially two driving forces, and that was accessibility. We needed anytime, anywhere access because we're all over the map. And business continuity and disaster recovery also played, an important role in this. Adding collaboration, of course, is all part of cloud, and removing inefficiency and redundancy. So today, most of our applications are actually cloud applications. Our van line started us off when they developed, for their 500 plus agents, they developed a move management system that they required all of us to utilize, and that was cloud-based. And we went from there to CRM program, surveying system, Access Alexander's now, but accounting, Adobe Creative Cloud we're using, and most of our business applications are in the cloud.
It's interesting to hear the ingredients you say were sort of there at the beginning that sort of empowered cloud choices. Need for real-time, anytime accessibility, having sort of enterprise-grade disaster recovery, and all that. That's great feedback. Okay. What is your company's bring your own device policy, and how does it affect the collaboration initiative? Do you, as your company, have a bring your own device policy?
The CVS is actually great on that aspect. They allow anything. They have two wireless guest access signals actually all through the building. We're free to bring any and all of our own devices. They welcome the technology, but they restrict the way that you will access what is out in the world. So that's the only kind of limit, I guess. So bring whatever you got. Let's have a party.
We internally, we are pretty locked down on what we are what's supported device-wise, but in our implementation, we're dealing with our volunteers, so it's very important to us to be accessible anywhere on any device. Because we're trying to support people from any company. We actually do run into a lot of challenges because we have users who are sitting on HP and Intel or other companies who have restrictive IT policies, and they may have trouble using some of the central desktop resources. But that's our challenge.
Yeah, sure.
For our group at USC, we engaged legal counsel and the Office of Compliance early on, and we met with them with the Central Desktop white paper, security white paper, and went over everything just to make sure that it was secure and that it was compliant with all of USC policies. But at Children's Hospital LA, it is quite different because we are working with personal health information. So I have yet to meet with legal counsel there, but the way I'm adopting the tool is in administrative processes and just making our functioning in the clinic administration a lot more effective and efficient.
Alexander's allows it, but we tell people up front, what works and what doesn't with our cloud tools, our applications, our collaboration tools. We don't support the device, but we do support the company apps that are on them. We don't support the non-company apps.
Right. Rubber hits the road in round 2. So once again, the short code is 22333. Jason is at the very left, followed by Martha, and then followed by Greg, and then followed by Kathy. So please place your vote for round 2, technology trends. There are no losers here, just folks that are invited to exit the island. Thank you.
It gets to get better the longer you're on the island.
They are equal.
Should go out early.
But a great question.
Who'd you fail?
Keep those votes coming.
It needs to be like the Jeopardy music or something.
Yeah, probably would have been
Go ahead and hum.
Yeah, do that for us. That's great.
I know that song I've never heard the show.
Still moving around. This reminds me of dodgeball. Great school every day of my life.
Dodge wrench and dodgeball.
Not done yet. Just when you think. Anyone else still voting? All right, well, thank you to all of our panelists, and thank you to Greg for participating in Panel Island. Feel free to go have a beer. Appreciate it. Awesome. Another round of applause for Greg, please. Next round is collaboration. Describe your favorite feature in the system and why is it so much of a favorite to you? How do you maximize its potential? Favorite feature, why, and how you use it.
I like to jump on this one because my favorite feature is the ability to customize and personalize the home page and the tabs. That has made such a big difference for our organization in tailoring those pages to speak the language that our people speak. You know, the terminology that is familiar. You know, database doesn't make any sense to an operations guy, but equipment on the tab makes better sense to them. So that the new favorite feature, though, I have to say, is probably going to be the yet to be named Cloud Open Save, which you know, currently we did like our Office plugin tool as well. In fact, I asked our IT manager this question, and that's what she said was the Office plugin tool. But I think the Cloud Open Save is going to become a favorite too.
My favorite feature, and Seth, who's also my colleague from CBS, who's sitting right in front of me, is I think ours is the workflow feature. It has changed a lot of the aspects of, and as they advance it, we push for advancement, and I hear that things are coming, but the email notifications and workflow that send out download links is huge for us because that's how we communicate, is obviously through email, internally and externally. So to be able to automatically create an email with a download link to a QuickTime video is unfortunately our review and approve system. So the other review and approve that's actually called review and approve was too technical for them, and this just seems to be that kind of Goldilocks just right area of it doesn't require the kind of constant oversight of the admins in a workspace, so it by far is the best tool, and everybody should be using it.
Great.
For me, although it's still in development, the project management feature has been really instrumental. There's just a huge number of projects that I work with, and for a lot of the people that don't like engaging with the tool, I'm able to do task assignment or just give them ownership of certain areas of the project, and it helps with accountability, and I've been surprised that people actually don't mind being assigned tasks. Which I thought I'd get a lot of pushback from, but people are actually a lot more responsive because they know that a lot of the information is captured centrally. It's really hard to just pick one because it's really a one-stop shop, and that's what I really like about this. That it's a central location where we can find information. I know where to access it. I know where to search. I don't have to search through my email and go crazy looking for that one document. You know, I know where to go, and the search features really good.
Great.
Martha and I have an alliance. Sorry, Kathy. I just have to follow on Martha's point. The task management was something that we hadn't used at CBS a lot either, and is slowly becoming a favorite. But what's interesting at CBS is that we found the users would go to a workspace task list and start checking them off that they finished things even though they hadn't. So we immediately had to figure out a way to keep people from doing that. So we have to restrict their access to it because everybody was going to a particular task list to see if they had finished something, or at least their bosses were, and they realized very early on that if they just go ahead and check it, it's done. That they're not going to follow up anywhere else. But when it came to us, who had to go and actually make sure that it was done, it wasn't. Then we had to start, restricting things by the users, and it became a little bit of a mess, but we have everything straightened out now. So,
As long as we're adding on to our earlier answer.
The competition is heating up.
there we go.
Fight to the death here. I would like to also
Kathy,
mention.
don't make me start throwing elbows.
I would like to also mention the database function has worked so well for our client extranets. And the reason being is that a typical client might place a move order in the system using the database form function. And we are able to design that form so that we can take that particular move order and move it all the way through execution and uploading documents that pertain to the execution and actual billing. So if for a commercial client, for example, they might need to move something from building A to building C, they create a move order for that. We can respond to that by going in and everybody's updated that we've acknowledged that particular order, that we have, we're working on it. We can go through a checklist of exactly what services we're going to be providing, when they're going to be providing them, and it just takes that whole flow, and using workflow, we are able to keep everybody in the loop on what's going on, and then we're able to maintain a total history and database of all the activity that's taken place by region, by manager, etc. So that's a favor too.
Great. All right, last question in this category. Is your collaboration initiative owned by IT or another department? I think we've touched on this a little bit, so this may be additive. And just how in general is the interaction between your teams in owning this initiative? How have you overcome specific struggles? So how involved was IT with you? I think we kind of covered, but how has the interaction been among your teams in owning sort of the central desktop initiative as a whole in your groups?
Well, I think Martha really hit a key point when she said, you know, the relationship is important, and it's in our organization as well. We work very closely with the IT department and, you know, have a mutual respect for the various directions and areas that we come from. And marketing kind of jumped in to take some ownership for client extranets and intranets on our Access Alexanders, but it was originally owned by IT 100%. But again, you know, understanding the objectives, having that mutual respect. I mean, each person brings something to the table, and then ongoing communication, keeping everybody in the loop. Sometimes even the smallest thing can make a big difference, so that helps.
Well, as I said earlier, IT, we try to keep a hands-off policy for IT. We don't want them touching it at all. We've even given them, it's funny, we actually gave them access so they could see what was going on in the central desktop. And I don't even think they went in, actually. Pretty much, we have a special group within Promo called iLink, which Seth and I are a part of. We are the kind of the technical support team within CBS Promo. And we kind of own the central desktop kind of as an administrative tool for us. I mean, we are the administrators of it. There are a couple of workspaces that we have turned over to that particular kind of sub-department, but beyond that, it's all within iLink. And if somebody has a question or something, they know to come to us first. So we have become kind of the ambassadors of Central Desktop in that sense.
I think it's about relationships. So I know that I don't know everything, but I typically do know somebody that does. And so I think one of the things that I'd like to fine-tune is being able to identify each team member's strengths. And that's what I've done with IT is, you know, what can they bring to the table? And a lot of, you know, collaboration is about that. You know, you want, it's not just, you know, very, very little times have I found people that like to be told what to do, and especially in the field that they're the experts in. So so I engage them early, and I give them my ideas and what I'm trying to accomplish, and request their feedback. And along the process, it's not just feedback, but it's a lot of coaching, which, you know, the difference is that it does go both ways. And so I think in establishing the relationships, in finding people's or the team members' strength, and seeing what they can bring to the table, you'll get stronger buy-in into the use and adoption of the tool.
That's great. And just to keep it through, because we're going to speed to the last category, I'm going to go to the vote for this round. Short code is 22333. Jason on the left, Martha in the middle, Kathy on the right. great things that came out of that one. Things about building relationships, understanding the strengths of others, including IT and the benefit that they bring to the equation. I like the term ambassador, where you identify a couple of key ambassadors, folks that can always be called on in case there's an issue internally to be champions. That everyone offered a ton of insights, which is great.
Jason, you got the absentee ballot.
Yeah, how's that alliance stacking up? Dan? Okay. Well, that was a great round. A hand of applause for everybody, and let's take it back.
I was getting to some really good stuff.
All right. And then there were two. So what I'm going to do is the alliance isn't really working out for me anymore.
It got us this far, that's all.
I wanted to go to one question here. This is the one I wanted. So explain one business problem you have solved for with Social Bridge, a very specific problem, a pain point, following your rollout. And what has been the results, either quantifiable, qualitative? What has been the result of that for you or your teams? So the key business problem you tried to solve and how it's sort of worked out in the end.
For me, it's been a lot of the work in the field, both in autism and in the development of therapeutics, devices, biomarkers, drugs, requires collaboration. And I think a lot of times, a lot of people are just work best siloed, and Central Desktop has helped with the different team members and teams that we've been working on. Again, with the CTSI, with the Scientific Translation Group, we really brought people around the table, and this was a central location where, all of the ideas were pitched. A lot of times there was intellectual property, sensitivity around, the discussions, and the tool really helped to just put basic ideas around the table. And in the Autism Treatment Network site at CHLA, part of the process in diagnosing a child with autism that the Autism Treatment Network came up with is bringing different clinical experts in the assessment of the child, and that requires for them to talk to each other, and that has led to a best approach in diagnosis. So again, the use of this tool, all the teams are very excited about being able to use the tool to collaborate rather than let me finish my piece and then email it to you and then you add to it. You can really actively see the use and the collaboration.
That's great.
The access, or the immediate access to information is what Central Desktop has allowed us to do. We have every year in May, we have a show called The Upfronts, which we have in New York City. The Upfronts are when we present our new fall shows to advertisers. It is the craziest time ever at CBS when we have our upfronts. It is 3 weeks of you're working 18 hours a day and things are changing at a moment's notice. And because things are changing at a moment's notice, we need to get that information out to our department as quickly as possible. We integrated Central Desktop with a automation system that we have on site called Orchestrator. And Orchestrator allows us to use Central Desktop in a way that I think even for Central Desktop was something new for them, in the sense that we worked really closely with them, but we got things to happen so fast and through Orchestrator that a file would be turned in, a QuickTime file, and it would bounce through several databases, and email notifications would be sent to the people who need to make decisions. And because of that, we had database, we could track history of things. All of that stuff allowed just the immediate access of information. It's so fast that the people who used to do it by hand in the previous years were sitting back doing nothing. So we had a kind of a relaxed upfront for the first time, where everybody used to be on edge. That was also, I guess, the secondary problem, was the kind of nervousness and edginess that it helped solve. So it was a huge boom, and even my boss, Al, who I spoke of earlier, he was so impressed by it that now, unfortunately, I guess it worked so well that it tasked me with using that automation in other areas. So.
That's great. I appreciate that. I wish we had more time for more questions, but we actually are going to go to the final poll. There are no losers, just folks invited to exit the island. Is it Jason from CBS?
Do we get to build on the island?
There is no construction allowed. There's no we have permits. We are still trying to clear.
And the square footage of the island is?
I'm trying to get both.
Martha, I'm gonna vote for you just for a tie.
Wow, there's even a breakdown at CBS.
Well, I'll talk to him about that.
Get your final vote in there. Anything can change. Anyone's still voting? Well, please join me in congratulating both of the finalists. Thank you to all the panelists for your participation. I hope this session was helpful. We didn't get to every question, which is fine, but definitely talk to these folks. Conference isn't over. Get some additional insight from them. But thank you, Martha. Thank you, Jason. That concludes our panel island. We're going to go to a break, and our final session of the conference will take place at 11 o'clock. Make sure to check out the agenda. There's also a photo booth out there to get some kind of fun, I don't know, almost thrown in jail type pictures.
Morning after mugshots.
Morning after mugshots outside.